this was level full sugar. If you run your hand over here, you can feel how rough it is. That's from the bees helping themselves to the honey. Okay. I use this plan, and the internet addresses are there, so you're welcome to look for them so you can get the same.
Okay, sure.
Now these I made from one buy, and I cut the joints myself. Okay. Now obviously this height isn't that critical. It depends on how much sugar you want to put there. Okay. The thing that is critical is this hole. You've got to have a hole for them to get out. Okay. So you build this frame first, staple the wire down. Now here I have a piece of 3/8 attached. That's the bee space. Now this sugar was put in the second year, so there was a mistake made here. I've tacked these on, okay? You want to screw these on and take them off before you put the sugar in. Okay? See how the sugar is all the way up here?
Oh yeah.
Well, if you fill it this way, you lose the bee space. Okay?
Oh, I see.
So you want to make sure you keep these slats removable.
I see. Okay.
Because see, when she fills them, when she makes the sugar, she lays these on the garage floor.
And what I do, I put freezer paper underneath it, and then
With the wax up?
yeah, with the wax up. But very rarely does it even go through it so thick.
When I was watching on YouTube, the guy lined this with the little sheets that you pull off the foundation.
Okay.
And then he said the bees would shoot through it and get at the sugar. He said some people use newspaper, but he uses that stuff, and he uses that stuff even to combine hives.
Right, yeah, you use newspaper to combine hives.
He uses the little strips of that white paper that smells like wax.
Yeah, that's a possibility because it leaks through a little bit. But the main thing I wanted everybody to understand was keep these removable. Okay, because if you leave it like this, like the paper helps, then you probably wouldn't have to remove the slip so often.
Does this replace the inner cover?
Yes, I don't have an inner cover in. See, in the winter time when I put this on, then I put on a piece of styrofoam the same size.
Okay.
I put on a 1/2-inch layer of styrofoam, and then I put the top on. Otherwise, I have some 2-inch foam tops that I made. They're actually tops with a slit cut in with a saw, and I set those on. But my top is blocked. That's why I need to have a hole here.
I see.
And see, what's nice about this sugar is this absorbs the moisture from the bees. You know, the reason you keep the top hole open for ventilation is to let that warm air out from the cluster. Well, what's nice about this sugar is that heat and dampness keeps the sugar soft for them to eat. They don't have to work so hard.
Okay.
Now, when you fill this, when you pour, you've got to take a piece of cardboard or something and lay it here, so you keep this hole open. Obviously, if you forget, it isn't that big a deal. You just need to chip this hole open. But it's easier if you were to put a piece of cardboard here. Even a 1/2-inch, even a half diameter from a PVC pipe laid in there would work.
I see.
You know what I mean? Like 2-inch.
Sure.
You cut a piece about this high. I've even thought already of drilling a hole. You could even screw it in there for the time being, so that it doesn't move around on you.
When this was originally filled, was it up to the top here?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, kind of. It holds 15 pounds. I make a 15 pounds of sugar in 3 cups of water.
See, on this particular one, it would have been laid in, I'm going to say around the 1st of October. And this was all that was left by the 1st of April.
This was all that was left?
This was all that was left. The rest was eaten.
This sits right over the frames.
Yep, just like this. See, it's made exactly like the frames. See? And then this is their exit. Okay. Now
They come up from below, right?
Yeah, from whatever boxes you have. And they'll feed on that all from the inside. And with this wire, they can just come right through.
Is that because there's not enough honey left in the hive?
Correct.
You have to, okay.
Yep, correct. That's
So
what
you
it's
winter
for.
them over on that?
Yep.
Okay.
And what's nice about these, if you have some space left here, you can actually lay a pollen patty up here.
A pollen pad?
Sure. See, what I'll do is like around the 1st of April when it starts to get warm, I'll pop the tops. if I see that this is all the sugar that's left, I'll drop a pollen patty in here yet too, for extra nutrition, see,
Okay.
to help keep them alive.
Okay.
But depending on what type I have, there's either a 1/2-inch sheet of styrofoam over this, or a 2-inch styrofoam top that I have. They have holes that match these holes, and that's what I use on top. So my tops are basically blocked off rather than ventilated because of this hole.
A little bit of vinegar.
Okay?
You see, I was wintering mine with the sawdust method.
Right, right.
Do you think like I could put an inner cover on top of this and then put the super with the sawdust on there?
Sure.
And then
I
just
don't
leave
see,
this in
yeah,
between?
anything you stack on here shouldn't
Yeah,
be a
you know what I
problem.
mean? I don't
Yeah,
know.
so
I
long
could
as
change
it's-
to that styrofoam, but I've been doing the sawdust method. You
Right,
know what I'm
right,
talking
yep,
about, right?
yep.
And I got like a little 1x6 that I put this kind of mesh, but it's only 1/8 inch, just about
Oh,
that
yeah,
high.
right, and it keeps the
the
sawdust,
sawdust
yep.
from falling in there.
See, one of the first years we had hives, we put 1/2-inch insulation all the way around the whole hive, and then I made these 2-inch tops.
I see.
And I didn't have good luck with survival.
Yeah.
And then I read one article that said the warmer you try to keep the bees, the worse it is.
Yeah.
Because once the cold penetrates, you can't get it out. This is like a deep freeze if you've made it too warm.
Right.
Where when you have just tar paper around the outside,
Yeah.
that helps block off all the frosty wind and stuff, but then when you get a nice sunny day, that black tar paper tends to heat up the inside of the
Oh, I
hive.
could believe that. Sure.
And you don't get that advantage if you've got insulation around. So the
I
only
was
place,
using that insulation like right there that he's got in his hand from B&B.
Okay,
That's
okay.
pretty thin, you know. That's
yeah.
what the
And
only
see,
place I ever
that's-
seen it
see,
was
that's
B&B
black,
honey
so
down
it
in
picks it
Houston,
up.
you know.
See, by being black, that helps pick it
Yeah.
up.
And then, you know, they say to tape it on there, nail it on. I just use string,
Okay,
little quarter-inch
sure.
cord. That way, if you put tape on it, you're going to rip that to pieces when you take it apart. It's expensive, so I got about 5 wraps of string around the cord.
Now, one of the reasons I brought this in was it's a way to consider making these in a hurry if you don't have a lot of woodworking equipment. See, what you can do is just set a fence on somebody's circle saw right here. You can make 4 honey boards right out of an old super. See how this one is damaged? You know, everybody gets a couple that are in tough shape. So rather than buying lumber and starting all over, just grab 2 tabs. There's no nails or anything, and you've got candy boards right
Good
here.
idea. I got some old deeps there.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
it goes
just
like
cut them right out of
corners
deeps.
or
Yeah.
chipboard, I think,
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you have to take the bottom one off because the wood's that poor, from there you just start
Good
making
idea.
candy boards.
That's what I'm going to do. I got the lumber, but I ain't got the time. That's
Yeah,
a good idea.
yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah, and everybody got junky super set in their
Oh,
house,
there's
you
always
know.
a couple.
Yeah.